The alarm rang through every defense station on Earth at exactly 0347 Universal Time. Admiral Hyun-woo was already awake in his quarters at the Orbital Defense Command when the call came through. He had not slept well in weeks. Something felt wrong in the silence of space. "Sir, we have multiple contacts," the night officer said through the comm. 500 ships. They just appeared near Jupiter." Hyun-woo pulled on his uniform and rushed to the command center. The massive display screens showed the solar system with red dots clustered near the gas giant. 500 hostile vessels. In all his 30 years of service, Earth had never faced anything like this. Dr. Yuna was already at her station when he arrived. The xenolinguist had been called in from her home in Seoul just minutes before. Her fingers moved quickly across her console as she analyzed the incoming transmissions. "They are broadcasting on all frequencies," she said without looking up. "Give me 5 minutes to decode their language." Around the command center, officers moved with practiced efficiency. Earth had prepared for this moment for over 2 centuries. Since humanity first sent radio signals into space, they knew someone might answer. They built weapons. They created shields. They made plans for every possible scenario. Captain Tae-sung entered the room still wearing his flight suit. The young pilot had been running drills with his squadron when the alert sounded. He stood at attention before the admiral. "The Peacekeeper is ready, sir," Tae-sung reported. "My crew is standing by." "Good," Hyun-woo said. "You may need to fly soon." On the main screen, the alien fleet began moving. They traveled fast, much faster than Earth's current vessels. The computer calculated their trajectory. They were heading directly toward the inner solar system, directly toward Earth. "Translation complete," Yuna announced. Her face had gone pale. "Admiral, you need to hear this." She played the decoded message through the command center speakers. A harsh, grating voice filled the room. The computer provided a translation overlay. "Primitive species of the third planet. You are now subjects of the Velkari Empire. We have conquered 17 civilizations across this sector of the galaxy. You will surrender all military assets immediately. You have 48 hours to comply. Resistance will result in the complete destruction of your world. This is your only warning." Silence fell over the command center. Several junior officers exchanged worried glances. The Velkari had given Earth 2 days to give up or die. "Arrogant bastards," Tae-sung muttered under his breath. Hyun-woo raised his hand for quiet. "Get me the Global Defense Council. Emergency meeting in 20 minutes. The council convened via secure holographic link. Representatives from every nation appeared around the conference table. The Secretary General spoke first. "Admiral, what are our options?" "We follow protocol," Hyun-woo said firmly. "First contact Protocol Alpha 7. We issue 3 formal warnings before engaging any hostile force." "3 warnings?" General Park from the Asian defense sector shook his head. "They have 500 warships. We should strike now while they are far from Earth." "No," Hyun-woo said. "We are not aggressors. We give them every chance to turn back. That is what separates us from conquerors." Dr. Yuna leaned forward. "Admiral, I have been analyzing their broadcasts. The Velkari think we are primitive. They intercepted our old radio and television signals from the 20th century. They believe we still use fossil fuels and nuclear weapons. They have no idea what we have become." "Then we educate them," Hyun-woo said. "We show them we are not prey." The council debated for an hour. Some wanted immediate military action. Others suggested attempting diplomacy. In the end, they voted to support the Admiral's plan. Earth would follow its principles. 3 warnings, 3 chances to avoid bloodshed. Hyun-woo turned to Captain Tae-sung. "Prepare your ship. You will deliver our first warning in person." Tae-sung saluted. "Yes, sir. When do I leave?" As soon as Dr. Yuna finishes the translation package, you will meet them at Mars orbit. Over the next 6 hours, the alien fleet continued its advance. They passed Jupiter's orbit without slowing. Earth's deep space sensors tracked every vessel. The ships were large, heavily armed, and their formation showed military discipline. These were not explorers. They were conquerors. Yuna worked without rest to perfect the translation. The warning had to be absolutely clear. No room for misunderstanding. She chose simple words and direct phrasing. "It is ready," she finally announced. "The message is loaded into the Peacekeeper's systems." Tae-sung and his crew of 12 launched from Earth Station 1 at 14:30 Universal Time. The Peacekeeper was a small diplomatic vessel armed only with defensive shields. Its mission was to talk, not fight. As the ship accelerated toward Mars, Hyun-woo stood before the main display. Commander Haeun approached from his left. She was his second in command, a veteran of the asteroid wars. "Sir, respectfully, this is a mistake," Haeun said quietly. "We should strike first. Eliminate the threat while we have the advantage." "We have the advantage because we are prepared," Hyun-woo replied. "But we do not start wars, Commander. We end them." "And if they ignore our warnings?" The Admiral's expression hardened. "Then we show them why Earth has never been conquered." On the view screen, the Valkyrie fleet grew closer. 500 ships carrying weapons capable of destroying planets. But Earth was not defenseless. Hidden in orbit, buried on the moon, scattered throughout the asteroid belt were thousands of defense platforms, weapons that had taken 200 years to perfect. Technology that would shock the galaxy. But first, humanity would try peace. 3 times they would warn. 3 times they would offer mercy. Captain Tae-sung's voice crackled over the comm. "Admiral, I have visual contact with the alien fleet. Beginning approach." "Godspeed, Captain," Hyun-woo said. "Deliver our message." The Peacekeeper moved toward 500 warships, one small vessel against an armada. But inside that ship was humanity's first words to an alien empire. "Turn back. You have been warned." The Peacekeeper slowed as it approached the Valkyrie fleet near Mars orbit. Captain Tae-sung sat in the pilot seat, his hands steady on the controls despite his racing heart. Through the viewport, he could see them now. 500 alien warships arranged in perfect formation like a swarm of metal insects. "They are massive," his co-pilot whispered. Each Valkyrie ship was 3 times the size of Earth's largest battlecruiser. Their hulls were dark red metal covered in weapon ports. Energy readings showed active shields and charging weapons. These ships were ready for war. "Open all communication channels," Tae-sung ordered. "Broadcast the warning on every frequency." The communications officer nodded and pressed the transmit button. Tae-sung spoke clearly into the microphone, reading the message Dr. Yuna had prepared. "Attention, Valkyrie fleet. You are entering protected space. This is United Earth Defense. Turn back immediately or face defensive action. This is your first warning." The message transmitted in both human languages and translated Valkyrie. It broadcast across radio, laser, and quantum channels. There was no way the aliens could miss it. For 30 seconds, silence. Then the Peacekeeper's speakers erupted with sound, harsh laughter and guttural voices speaking in the alien tongue. The computer translated their response. "Pathetic humans, you dare threaten the Valkyrie Empire? Your primitive toys cannot harm us. We will crush your world and take your survivors as slaves." More laughter followed. Crude insults about human weakness and stupidity filled the comm channels. Tae-sung felt his jaw tighten, but kept his voice calm. "Second transmission sent, sir," the communications officer reported. They received it clearly. On the Peacekeeper's sensors, one of the smaller alien vessels broke formation. It accelerated toward them rapidly. "Evasive action," Tae-sung ordered, but he was too slow. A bright green energy beam lanced across space and struck the Peacekeeper's port side. The ship shuddered violently. Alarms blared as the shields absorbed most of the impact, but the outer hull took damage. "Shields at 60%, his engineer called out. "Hull breach on deck 3, sealed." "Get us out of here," Taesung commanded. "Maximum speed back to Earth." The Peacekeeper turned and burned its engines at full power. Behind them, the Velkari scout ship fired twice more, but the shots went wide. The aliens were toying with them, showing their superiority. Back in Earth's Orbital Defense Command, Admiral Hyun-woo watched the engagement with a stone face. The tactical display showed the Peacekeeper limping back toward Earth while the Velkari fleet continued its advance. Commander Haeun slammed her fist on her console. "They attacked our diplomatic vessel. We have every right to fire now." "The protocol requires 3 warnings," Hyun-woo said quietly. "We have given one." "Sir, with respect, they shot at us. They are not going to listen." "Then we make certain there is no doubt." The Admiral turned to his communications chief. "Prepare the second warning. Broadcast from all Earth stations. Maximum power." Dr. Yuna rushed into the command center, slightly out of breath. She had been analyzing the Velkari responses in her lab. "Admiral, I intercepted their internal communications," she said urgently. "They are discussing their battle plans. They intend to position their fleet in high orbit and bombard the surface. They plan to destroy every major city in the first wave." Hyun-woo nodded slowly. "How long until they reach Earth orbit?" "At their current speed, 18 hours. "Plenty of time." He turned to the main screen. "Send the second warning now." This time, Earth's message was stronger, more direct. Every defense satellite, every orbital station, every ground-based transmitter sent the same words simultaneously. "Velkari Empire. This is your final opportunity. We possess defensive capabilities beyond your understanding. Turn back now, or you will be destroyed. This is your second warning." The message reached the alien fleet within seconds. This time there was no laughter. The Velkari Supreme Commander Jin-woo sat in his command throne aboard the flagship. He was a tall creature with 4 arms and crimson skin. His eyes were black and cold. "Increase speed," Jin-woo ordered his helmsman. "These humans think they can frighten us with words. We will show them true fear." Sub-Commander Mireille stood at the sensor station. She was younger than most of the bridge crew, but highly skilled in tactical analysis. Her console showed unusual readings from Earth. "Commander, the energy signatures from the human planet are abnormal," she reported. "Their power generation exceeds anything in our database." "They probably burn fossil fuels inefficiently," Jin-woo said dismissively. "Primitive species always waste energy." "Sir, I do not think so. The quantum fluctuations around their planet suggest advanced shield technology, possibly more advanced than our own." Jin-woo turned his head toward her, his expression darkening. "Are you suggesting we should fear these primitives?" "I am suggesting caution, sir. The Velkari Empire does not need caution. We have conquered 17 civilizations. We have never been defeated." He stood from his throne. "Ignore their warnings. They are bluffing to save their worthless planet." The fleet accelerated past Mars. Earth grew larger in their view screens with each passing hour. Still no military response from the humans, only words and warnings. In her laboratory, Dr. Yuna continued monitoring the alien transmissions. She heard Jin-woo's dismissal of Mireille's concerns. She heard their arrogance and certainty. It made her chest ache. "They do not understand," she whispered to herself. "They think we are like the others they conquered." She opened a private channel to the Velkari fleet, bypassing military protocols. Using her most diplomatic phrasing, she sent a personal message. "To the Velkari Empire. Please listen. We do not want war. We are not your enemy. Turn back, and we can talk. Find peaceful understanding. There is no need for death today." For a moment, she thought they might respond. The channel remained open for almost a minute. Then it was cut off abruptly from the other end. Jinwoo had ordered her transmission blocked and ignored. The Velkari fleet crossed the moon's orbit. Earth filled their forward screens now, a blue and green jewel hanging in the darkness. To the aliens, it looked defenseless. They saw no massive fleet waiting to meet them, no weapon platforms, no military might. Admiral Hyun-woo stood in the command center watching the alien approach. Around him, every station was manned and ready. Deep beneath his feet, in hidden bunkers around the globe, Earth's true defenses waited silently. "Sir, they are 6 hours from high orbit," the tactical officer reported. "Send the third warning," Hyun-woo said. His voice was heavy with sadness. "Make it absolutely clear." The final message went out to the Velkari fleet. It was simple and direct. "You have been warned 3 times. We will defend ourselves. Turn back now. This is your final chance." Jinwoo read the message and laughed. He opened a channel to all his ships. "All vessels, prepare for orbital bombardment. We will burn this planet and take what remains. These humans had their chance to surrender. Now they will learn what it means to face the Velkari Empire." 500 warships moved into attack formation above Earth. Weapon systems charged, targeting computers locked onto major population centers. In the Orbital Defense Command, Admiral Hyun-woo turned to Dr. Kyung, the elderly scientist who designed Earth's defensive grid. "Doctor, I am authorizing Protocol Omega." Dr. Kyung's wrinkled hands moved across his console. "Authorization accepted, Admiral. The grid is ready." Hyun-woo looked at the countdown timer. The Velkari had given Earth 1 hour to surrender. 59 minutes remained. "They chose this," he said quietly. "We warned them 3 times." The Velkari fleet hung above Earth like a crimson storm. 500 warships positioned themselves in perfect geometric patterns across high orbit. Each ship's weapons were fully charged, their targeting systems locked onto the cities below. New York, London, Tokyo, Beijing, Mumbai, Moscow, all marked for destruction. Supreme Commander Jinwoo stood on his bridge, watching the blue planet beneath him. In his long career of conquest, he had destroyed 12 worlds that refused to surrender. This would be the 13th. The humans had their chance. They wasted it with empty threats and foolish warnings. "All ships report ready," his tactical officer announced. "Bombardment can begin on your command." Excellent. Jinwoo activated his fleet-wide channel. "Attention all vessels. In 1 solar hour we will commence planetary bombardment. The humans will have that time to reconsider their defiance. If they surrender, we will be merciful and only kill half their population. If they remain silent, we will kill them all." He cut the transmission and smiled. The hour of waiting was not mercy. It was psychological warfare. Let the humans see the fleet above them. Let them understand their doom was certain. Let them break. On Earth, billions of people looked up at the sky. In daylight regions, the alien ships appeared as tiny red dots. At night, they glowed like bloody stars. Emergency broadcasts told everyone to move to underground shelters, but most people knew it would not matter. If those ships fired, nowhere would be safe. In the Orbital Defense Command, Admiral Hyun-woo watched the timer count down. 53 minutes remaining. Around him, his officers sat at their stations with grim determination. They had trained for this their entire careers. Now, the moment had arrived. Dr. Yuna sat at her console with tears running down her face. She had tried everything to reach the Velkari, every diplomatic channel, every possible translation. They refused to listen, refused to believe that Earth could defend itself. "It did not have to be this way," she whispered. Commander Haeun checked her weapons status board for the 100th time. Every defensive platform was online and ready. The grid showed green across all sectors. Earth's true power was about to be revealed. "Admiral, Permission to speak freely, Heiyun said. Granted. I was wrong earlier, about striking first. She met his eyes. You were right to give them warnings. What happens next is their choice, not ours. Hyun-woo nodded but said nothing. There were no words that felt adequate. Aboard the Velkari flagship, Sub-Commander Mirai stared at her sensor display with growing concern. The readings from Earth made no sense. The power signatures were increasing exponentially. The quantum fluctuations were off every scale she had ever seen. Commander Jinwoo, she called out. Sir, I must report critical tactical data. What is it? Jinwoo did not turn from his viewport. The human planet's energy output is spiking dramatically. Their shield generators are producing readings I have never encountered. And, sir, I am detecting thousands of anomalies around the planet and moon. Anomalies? Areas of space where our sensors cannot penetrate, as if something is hidden behind cloaking fields. Now Jinwoo turned. His black eyes narrowed. How many anomalies? Approximately 8,000, sir. All around the planet in a spherical pattern. 8,000? For the first time, doubt crept into Jinwoo's voice. What could they be hiding? Mirai pulled up a tactical projection. Red dots representing the Velkari fleet floated above the blue sphere of Earth. Surrounding the planet in layers were thousands of small markers showing the unknown anomalies. I believe they are defense platforms, sir. Hidden weapons. Impossible. We monitored their radio broadcasts. They were arguing about climate change and reality television just decades ago. They cannot have technology superior to ours. Sir, I recommend we withdraw and reassess. The risk level is too high. Jinwoo's face flushed darker red. His four fists clenched. Are you calling me a coward, Sub-Commander? No, sir. I am calling you intelligent. A wise commander does not walk into an unknown trap. The Velkari Empire has conquered 17 civilizations, Jinwoo shouted. We have a perfect record of victory. These humans are bluffing. Those anomalies are probably satellites or space junk. Sir, please, silence. One more word, and I will have you removed from this bridge. Jinwoo turned to his weapons officer. How long until the bombardment hour expires? 42 minutes, Commander. I am tired of waiting. All ships will open fire in 5 minutes. Prepare for bombardment. Mirai slumped in her seat. She had tried. She had given the warning. Now she could only watch what came next. The Velkari fleet received their orders. Weapon ports opened on 500 ships, energy weapons charged to maximum power, missile tubes loaded with planet-killer warheads. In 5 minutes, enough firepower to crack a continent would rain down on Earth. In Seoul, Dr. Yuna's mother called her on a private line. Yuna, sweetie, is it going to be okay? Yuna wanted to lie, wanted to comfort her mother. But she had always been honest. Yes, mother, it will be okay, but not for them. I love you, daughter. I love you too. The 5 minutes expired. Supreme Commander Jinwoo raised one of his 4 hands high. All ships, he declared, commence planetary bombardment. Fire at will. 500 Velkari warships opened fire simultaneously. Thousands of energy beams and missiles launched toward Earth. The bombardment was massive, overwhelming, devastating. Enough destruction to kill everything on the surface. The weapons struck Earth's atmosphere and hit the planetary shield. A brilliant blue dome of energy appeared around the entire planet, stretching from the surface to low orbit. The Velkari bombardment splashed against it like rain on glass. Every missile, every energy beam, every weapon hit the shield and dissipated harmlessly. Not a single shot reached the surface. On the Velkari flagship, every bridge officer stared in shock. Their sensors showed Earth's shield was not even straining. It had absorbed the full firepower of 500 warships without a flicker. Impossible, Jinwoo breathed. Recharge time for weapons is 2.3 seconds, the weapons officer reported, his voice shaking. Then fire again. Keep firing. But in that moment, Earth's true defenses activated. Around the planet, throughout near-Earth space, on the moon, in the asteroid belt, 8,000 hidden platforms decloaked. They appeared on every Velkari sensor simultaneously. The platforms were small, no larger than a shipping container. They did not look like weapons. They had no visible guns or missile tubes, just smooth surfaces covered in strange patterns. "What are those?" Jinwoo demanded. Sub-Commander Mirai's console lit up with warning alarms. "Sir, massive energy spike detected. All 8,000 platforms are charging something. Evasive action. All ships scatter." But it was too late. 500 warships could not move fast enough. In the Orbital Defense Command, Dr. Kyung watched his display with the calm of a man who had waited 200 years for this moment. "Admiral," he said quietly, "Protocol Omega is fully active. The quantum disruptor network is synchronized." Admiral Hyun-woo stood straight, his hands behind his back. "Execute." Dr. Kyung pressed a single button. 8,000 platforms fired as one. But they did not shoot projectiles. They did not launch missiles. Instead, they emitted a synchronized quantum pulse that swept through space faster than light itself. The pulse hit the Velkari fleet at exactly 0.7 seconds. At 1.1 seconds, the molecular bonds in the Velkari ships began to fail. At 1.8 seconds, 500 warships started to disintegrate. At 2.3 seconds, the Velkari fleet ceased to exist. Where 500 massive warships had hung in orbit, there was now only expanding clouds of atoms, not debris, not wreckage, just the component particles that had once been metal, power cores, and living beings. The entire fleet had been reduced to cosmic dust in less time than a human heartbeat. Silence filled the Orbital Defense Command. Every officer stared at their screens in stunned disbelief. The tactical display that had shown 500 red enemy markers now showed nothing but empty space and slowly dispersing atomic clouds. Admiral Hyun-woo stood perfectly still, his face carved from stone. He had known what would happen. He had authorized it, but knowing and seeing were different things. In less than 3 seconds, Earth's defense grid had killed millions of alien beings. "Confirmed," the sensor officer said, his voice barely a whisper. "The Velkari fleet is completely destroyed. No survivors detected, no escape pods, no distress signals. They are gone." Commander Haeun sat at her station with her mouth slightly open. She had wanted to strike first. She had argued for immediate action. But she had never imagined this. She had thought there would be a battle, ships exchanging fire, tactical maneuvering, not this instant, absolute annihilation. "My God," she whispered, "what did we build?" Dr. Kyung turned from his console. The elderly scientist's hands trembled slightly as he deactivated the quantum disruptor network. The 8,000 platforms returned to their cloaked state, disappearing from all sensors once more. "We built exactly what we needed," he said quietly. "A deterrent so powerful that no one would dare attack Earth, a defense so absolute that we would never need to use it." He paused. "We hoped we would never need to use it." Captain Tae-sung watched from the bridge of the Peacekeeper, which was still limping back to Earth Station 1 for repairs. He and his crew had witnessed everything through their long-range sensors. When the Velkari fleet fired their bombardment, Tae-sung had gripped his armrests and prepared to watch his homeworld burn. Then the shield activated. The alien weapons splashed harmlessly against it. And then those platforms appeared. And then the fleet was simply gone. "We warned them," Tae-sung said to no one in particular. 3 times. We gave them every chance to turn back." His co-pilot nodded slowly, still staring at the empty space where the enemy had been. "They thought we were primitive. They thought we were weak. They were wrong." In her laboratory, Dr. Yuna had collapsed in her chair. She had watched the destruction through the Defense Command's live feed. Now she sat with her face in her hands, sobbing. Not from relief that Earth was safe, not from joy at victory, but from the overwhelming tragedy of it all. They had not listened. She had tried so hard to make them understand. She had sent diplomatic messages, offered peaceful contact, begged them to turn back. And they had laughed at her, called humans primitive, mocked their warnings, and now they were dead, all of them, millions of beings reduced to atoms because of arrogance and miscalculation. "It did not have to be this way," she said between sobs. "It did not have to happen." Admiral Hyunwoo walked slowly across the command center to the communications station. His movements were heavy, as if he had aged 10 years in the last 10 minutes. "Open a channel to all Earth defense stations," he ordered, "and to our deep space monitoring network." "Channel open, sir." Hyunwoo took a deep breath. "This is Admiral Hyunwoo, Commander of Earth Defense. Today we defended our world against an alien invasion force. The Velkari Empire sent 500 warships to destroy our planet. We gave them 3 warnings to turn back. They ignored all warnings and opened fire on Earth. Our defensive systems responded and eliminated the threat completely." He paused, choosing his next words carefully. "Let the record show that Earth did not start this war. We sought peaceful contact. We offered multiple chances to avoid conflict. The Velkari chose destruction. What happened here today was their decision, not ours." Another pause. "All defense stations remain on high alert. We do not know if the Velkari have other fleets. We do not know if other civilizations will come seeking revenge. But let this be clear to anyone watching from the stars. Earth is defended. Earth will protect itself. Approach us with peace, and you will find friends. Approach us with violence, and you will find only dust." He signaled for the channel to close. Then he walked to his private office and sat heavily in his chair. For the first time in 30 years of military service, Admiral Hyunwoo put his head down on his desk and wept. Across the solar system, Earth's deep space sensors had recorded everything. The data was already being transmitted to monitoring stations scattered throughout nearby star systems. Automated beacons that had been placed centuries ago, waiting for this very purpose. The beacons broadcast a simple message along with the tactical data of the engagement. "This is Earth. We are humanity. We defend ourselves. Approach peacefully, or do not approach at all." 73 light-years away, the first beacon reached a planet inhabited by the Takari, a reptilian species that had been monitoring Earth's radio signals for decades. They had been planning their own invasion for when humanity developed faster-than-light travel. They wanted to conquer Earth before humans could spread to the stars. The Takari Military Council watched the recording of the Velkari fleet's destruction 3 times. Then they canceled all invasion plans and burned every file related to Earth. The planet was marked with a warning in their star charts. "Extremely dangerous. Do not approach under any circumstances." 112 light-years away, the Morthian collective received the beacon. They were a peaceful trading civilization that had been debating whether to make contact with Earth. The debate ended quickly after they analyzed Earth's quantum disruptor technology. "We should establish diplomatic relations immediately," their lead scientist declared. "Any species with that level of technology, but that much restraint would make excellent trade partners." "Restraint?" another scientist questioned. "They gave 3 warnings. They could have fired first and asked questions later. Instead, they followed their own ethical protocols even when facing overwhelming numbers. That shows wisdom and self-control." The Morthian collective began preparing their first diplomatic mission to Earth. It would take them 3 years to arrive, but they would come in peace with open hands. 17 light-years away, the Quellan Empire received the beacon and went completely silent. The Quellans had conquered 8 civilizations and were expanding rapidly. Earth had been on their list of future targets. The Quellan High Command held an emergency session. They had been confident in their military superiority. Their fleet consisted of 2,000 warships, far more than the Velkari's 500. But after seeing what Earth's defenses did to the Velkari, they realized numbers did not matter. "We withdraw all exploration vessels from that sector," the High Commander ordered. "Mark human space as forbidden territory. Any ship that enters within 50 light-years of Earth will be disavowed by the Empire." The Quellans were conquerors, but they were not fools. They knew a superior force when they saw one. Back on Earth, the sun rose over Sol. Dr. Yuna's mother opened her apartment door and stepped outside. The city was quiet. People stood in the streets looking up at the sky. The alien fleet was gone. Earth was safe. But there was no celebration, no cheering crowds, no victory parades. Everyone understood what had happened. Everyone knew the cost. Dr. Yuna walked through the streets toward her mother's apartment. People recognized her from news broadcasts. Some nodded respectfully, others looked away. One old man approached her. "You tried to save them," he said softly. "I heard your diplomatic messages. You gave them chances." "It was not enough," Yuna replied. "You cannot save people from their own arrogance, child. That is their burden, not yours." Yuna nodded and continued walking. The morning light was beautiful. Birds sang in the trees. Life continued. But she knew that humanity had changed forever. They were no longer alone in the universe. And the galaxy now knew that Earth was not prey. They were predators who chose to be peaceful. And that made them more dangerous than any conqueror. 6 months passed after the Velkari fleet's destruction. Earth rebuilt its confidence slowly, like a person learning to walk again after an accident. The planet had survived, but everyone knew the universe was watching now. In Geneva, the newly formed Department of Interspecies Relations prepared for its first day of operation. Diplomat Soman adjusted her formal suit jacket and looked at herself in the mirror. She had been a trade negotiator before the Velkari attack. Now she was Earth's first ambassador to the galactic community. "Ready?" asked her assistant, a young man named Minho. "As ready as I can be," Soman replied. "Are the alien delegations confirmed?" "Yes. 7 civilizations have requested formal meetings. 3 more have sent preliminary messages expressing interest in trade agreements." 7 civilizations. Before the Velkari attack, Earth had never confirmed contact with intelligent alien life. Now representatives from multiple species wanted to meet, all because of what happened in Earth's orbit 6 months ago. At the Orbital Defense Command, Admiral Hyun Woo reviewed the daily intelligence reports. The deep space beacons continued broadcasting Earth's warning message. So far, 43 civilizations had acknowledged receiving it. Responses varied wildly. Some, like the Morthians, expressed interest in peaceful contact. Others, like the Quellans, declared Earth's space off-limits to their vessels. A few sent angry messages condemning Earth's use of such devastating weapons, but none sent warships, none threatened invasion. Commander Haeun entered his office carrying a data pad. "Sir, we have a situation. The Velkari homeworld has finally responded." Hyun Woo felt his stomach tighten. The Velkari Empire's core worlds were over 300 light-years away. It had taken 6 months for news of the fleet's destruction to reach them and for their response to arrive. "What do they say?" "They request a meeting. Here, on Earth. Their message says they wish to discuss peace and understand what happened to their fleet. They want to investigate or seek revenge." Haeun shook her head. "According to our translation, they want to apologize." Hyunwoo blinked in surprise. "Apologize?" Apparently, Supreme Commander Jinwoo was acting without proper authorization from their central government. The Velkari leadership says they never approved the attack on Earth. They want to make amends. The Admiral leaned back in his chair. political complications after military action. Some things were universal across species. Tell them we will meet, but it happens at a neutral location, not on Earth, and we choose the security arrangements. Understood, sir. Dr. Yuna stood before a classroom of 50 students at Seoul National University. She had accepted a teaching position to train the next generation of xenolinguists. Her first class was titled First Contact Protocols and Cross-Species Communication. The Valkyrie made several critical mistakes, she explained to her students. First, they assumed technological advancement follows a single path. They thought because we used radio in the past, we must still be primitive. Second, they relied on intimidation rather than communication. And third, they believed their past successes guaranteed future victories. A student raised her hand. Professor, why did you keep trying to contact them even after they fired on Captain Tae-sung's ship? Yuna smiled sadly. Because every life matters, even enemy lives. I hoped that if I could just make them understand we could avoid tragedy. I was wrong, but I do not regret trying. Do you think other aliens will attack us? Honestly, I think most will be too smart to try. But there will always be someone who thinks they are the exception. Someone who believes they can succeed where others failed. That is why we must always be prepared. But more importantly, we must always try peace first. Captain Tae-sung sat in a new ship, larger and more advanced than the Peacekeeper. Earth had built a fleet of diplomatic vessels after the Valkyrie incident. Ships that could deliver warnings, facilitate negotiations, and survive hostile encounters. He was now the commander of the Diplomatic Protection Fleet. 12 ships under his command, each captained by experienced officers who understood that their job was to talk first and fight only as a last resort. Today, he was running training exercises with his squadron. They practiced approach protocols, emergency evacuations, and defensive maneuvers. But most importantly, they practiced the 3-warning protocol that had saved Earth. Remember, Tae-sung told his captains during the briefing, we are not warriors seeking glory. We are messengers. Our job is to give others the choice between peace and destruction. If they choose destruction, that is their decision, not ours. Dr. Kyung retired from active service but continued consulting for Earth defense. The quantum disruptor network remained active, hidden in its cloaked platforms around Earth and throughout the solar system. He had spent 2 centuries developing the technology. Now he spent his remaining years ensuring it would never be needed again. He met weekly with young scientists who were developing the next generation of defensive systems. Not more powerful weapons, but better detection systems. More efficient shields, faster communication networks, ways to identify threats earlier and resolve conflicts before they escalated. The best weapon is the one you never have to use, he told his students repeatedly. We built something terrible because we had to. Now we must build something better. Ways to prevent war instead of just winning it. Diplomat So-min stood in the reception hall waiting for the first alien delegation to arrive. The Morthians had sent a ship that entered the solar system 3 days ago. They had followed every protocol perfectly, announced their arrival, requested permission to approach, explained their peaceful intentions. The airlock opened. 3 Morthian representatives stepped through. They were tall and slender with blue-gray skin and large, dark eyes. They wore formal robes and carried no weapons. The lead Morthian approached So-min and performed what Earth's xenologists believed was a respectful bow. Greetings, Ambassador So-min. I am Trade Representative Kelvin of the Morthian Collective. We come in peace and friendship. So-min returned the bow. Welcome to Earth, Trade Representative. We are honored by your visit. The honor is ours. Your species showed both power and restraint. Such wisdom is rare in the galaxy. We believe humanity would make excellent partners. The formal negotiations began. Trade agreements, cultural exchanges. technology sharing in non-military fields. The Morthians were particularly interested in Earth's medical technology and agricultural methods. In return, they offered advanced material science and clean energy systems. It was the beginning of Earth's true entry into galactic civilization. Not through conquest or submission, but through mutual respect. Admiral Hyun-woo stood on the observation deck of Earth Station 1, looking down at the planet below. 6 months ago, 500 alien warships had hung in this same space, ready to destroy everything he loved. Now trade ships and diplomatic vessels came and went peacefully. Commander Hyun joined him at the viewport. "Strange, is it not? We built weapons to defend against invasion. Now we have become attractive to peaceful civilizations because we were strong enough to defend ourselves." "Peace through strength," Hyun-woo said, "but strength tempered by restraint. That is the balance we must maintain." "Do you think we will face another Velkari situation?" "Eventually. The galaxy is vast. There will always be someone who tests us. Someone who thinks they can win where others failed. And we will give them 3 warnings? Always. That is who we are. That is what separates us from conquerors." Earth's deep space beacons continued their broadcast. The message had reached over 500 civilizations now. Some ignored it, some feared it, some respected it, but all of them knew. Earth was defended. Humanity was no longer prey. The message that played across the stars was simple and clear. This is Earth. We are humanity. We seek peace with all civilizations. We offer friendship, trade, and cultural exchange to those who approach us with open hands. But we will defend ourselves against aggression. You will be warned 3 times. We encourage dialogue over conflict. We value life over conquest. We choose peace over war whenever possible. But make no mistake. If you force us to fight, you will lose. Choose wisely. Attached to the message was the complete tactical data from the Velkari engagement. Every sensor reading, every communication, the 3 warnings, the alien attack, and the 2.3 seconds it took for Earth's defenses to reduce 500 warships to atomic dust. The data was not a threat, it was a truth, it was evidence. It showed what happened when warnings were ignored. Dr. Yuna stood on a hilltop outside Seoul, watching the sunset. Above her, ships moved through the sky. Some were Earth vessels. Some were alien traders. Some were diplomatic transports. The sky that had once been empty of intelligent life now bustled with activity. She thought about the Velkari sometimes, about Jinwoo's arrogance, about Mirei's warnings that went unheeded, about all those lives lost because pride was stronger than wisdom. "I am sorry," she whispered to the sky. "I tried to save you. I hope others learn from your mistake." A shooting star crossed the sky, or perhaps it was a ship entering orbit. In this new age, it was hard to tell the difference. Earth had changed. Humanity had changed. They knew they were not alone. They knew the galaxy was dangerous. But they also knew they were strong enough to defend themselves and wise enough to seek peace first. The warning had been given. The message had been sent. Now the galaxy would decide how to respond, and Earth would be ready, whatever came next.